Before we go, Tay, we have time for a few questions. Take us to the end of the book, Marvin, because you leverage this whole incredible experience, the year of being Peter the Great, into a job interview with a guy named Morrow.
Yes, I think this is a great story. Bear with me.
I got all the time in the world.
So I finished in Moscow at the end of January in 1957. I went back to Harvard. I was going on for my PhD. I was working very hard at the Lenin Library. And in May, the librarian came over and tapped me on the shoulder, and she said, "Marvin, there's a guy on the phone who was asking for you. He says that he's Edward R. Morrow." I said, "Hang up on him. Morrow is not calling me, I can assure you of that." Out of the word. Not true. And I went back to my work, and she came back later in the afternoon. She said, "Marvin, it's the same guy on the phone, and he says he's Edward R. Morrow." There was something in the back of my mind that Bernie had been in Burma with Morrow. Maybe he was, I don't know. I figured I better at least get the phone. So I went over, and I picked up the phone. And the minute I heard his voice, I realized what a jackass I had been. I mean, it was Edward R. Morrow without any doubt. And he said, "I just read your article in the Times Magazine about Soviet youth. Thought it was a marvelous piece. I'd like you to come down and talk to me about it." I said, "Yes, sir." "And when?" He said, "Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, my office in New York." I said, "Yes, sir, I'll be there." So I ran to my room, got a shirt, got a train, was there way ahead of time. His secretary said, "You've got a half hour. Remember that. He's very busy." I said, "Yes, ma'am." 9 o'clock, he popped out and said, "Come on in." I went in, sat down, and he began to ask me one question after another about Soviet youth, what they feel, marriage, religion, family life. He wanted to know everything. And then in the middle of it all, he said, "How would you like to work for us?" He said, "Yeah, you. How would you like to work for us?" I said, "I'd be thrilled. It'd be a great honor." And he said, "Well, let's drink to that." And he reached down into the right-hand drawer of his desk and pulled out a bottle of Johnny Walker Black Label Scotch. This was about 10:30 in the morning. He had 2 large glasses and began to pour. And the look on my face must have been one of horror. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh dear, you don't drink." I said, "No. Does that mean there's no job?" He said, "No, but it does make it that much more difficult."